I was watching some videos on YouTube and I noticed a lot of people talking and giving reviews about a viewfinder like this. And I decided, obviously I got one. It was about, I think it cost me about $12, but around $12 to $15 you can get one. And it works great. And the thing about it is, there's actually a metal frame, which I'll show you in a second, which you put on the mounting screw at the bottom of your camera, and it comes up from underneath, and you can attach this onto it. Now, the problem I ran into was that I also use a battery grip. And I saw someone else have this problem, but all he did was remove this rubber pad, which is supposed to help keep it in place, but he just tore off the rubber pad, and it made a narrow enough gap that his battery grip was actually able to still connect to all the connection points. I tried that with my camera. I've tried tightening it down and it doesn't work. So bottom line, my battery grip doesn't work in conjunction with my viewfinder. And that's a big problem, because when I have my camera mounted on a tripod, I don't want to have to pull it off the tripod in order to change out batteries. The battery grip is very useful to me. I keep it on all the time. So I decided to come up with a solution to this, still using this rig, and I've seen some other solutions to this by companies that range in the hundreds of dollars. I'm not really in the market to be spending hundreds of dollars on something like that, so I decided to come up with my own design, and this is it right here. And you'll see how that all attaches, but this is a hot shoe mount, cold shoe mount, and just some simple hardware that allows you to screw this onto the hot shoe mount and then attach that right there. And this is using the same setup, but you're attaching it from above rather than using this piece down below your camera. And I will show you what that looks like. But first I'll show you how to make this. This is everything you will need for the project. Simple. You have a Phillips head screwdriver. This is a 7/16 wrench. You will need 3 of the 1/4 inch, what are called stop nuts. That's what I choose to use there. It helps just lock the nuts in place. This is a 1/4 inch machine screw, 1 3/4 inch long. This is the hot shoe adapter for, in my case I'm mounting a Zoom recorder, Zoom H1 recorder, but whatever you wanted to mount up there. This is something you'll need. This is a U-bolt that is a 1/4 inch by 1 3/8 by 4 inches. Now, I had to buy this, but the only part of it you're really going to need is this strap right here. So I did have to buy the U-bolt in order to get this strap, but that's really all I'm going to be using in the end. And of course your viewfinder, or your loupe, however you choose to call that. So that is what we will be using to make our rig today. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is take this strap and your screw. You just want to put this on, and then you're going to end up attaching the stop nut, one stop nut onto it, and you're going to lock that all the way down. And this is where you're going to need your wrench and your screwdriver. Okay, so there you have it, the nut, and you can see it's on there pretty strong. It's not going to move around, and that's what we want. And then we need to take another one of the stop nuts, go ahead and screw that on, and this can kind of just go on somewhere in the middle, because later you'll need to adjust this depending on your specific camera. So I'll go ahead and tighten that down. So now I've got that on, and like I said, just put it somewhere in the middle because it will need to be adjusted later when you attach this to your camera. But here's where you will take your loupe, and of course this loupe has a little metal frame, and what you're going to want to do is put the frame on, and it doesn't, just as long as it's pointing down, it doesn't matter how it's oriented or anything, because again, this will get all readjusted as you fine-tune it for your particular camera. And attach the last lock or a stop nut. So I can go ahead and do that. So I've got all my stop nuts attached. It looks something like that. And now to this, your next step is to take your hot shoe adapter, cold shoe adapter, I don't know the right term to use for it, but you want to take these nuts off, slip this all the way down, put that through, and go ahead and reattach them. So that's really the assembly part of this. Now, one thing I really wanted to point out with this strap is I used to use I had already made this rig, but I used a different strap. And actually this is it right here. And you can see it's about the same, but the important thing is that it's much thinner. It's narrower. So this caused a problem whenever I needed to attach it to the hot shoe. And I'll explain what I mean, but basically this would sit inside the hot shoe, and I couldn't tighten it down. I had to use a washer, which just complicated it quite a bit. So the important thing really that I'm talking about is make sure whatever strap you get it at least a ½ inch wide, and preferably closer to 3/4 of an inch or so. And this one fits the bill. Okay, well, I don't have an ideal way of showing this final product, so I'm using just some mirrors, since this is the camera I'm filming with is the one where this rig is attached. But you can see the finished thing there, and you can see my zoom right there mounted on top. Hopefully you can tell that is the hot shoe adapter it's mounted to, and between that bottom nut and the actual hot shoe is the strap tightened down, heading over to that 1/4 inch bolt with the 3 stop nuts. And right there, maybe you can tell, that's where you have to make adjustments on that bolt in order to get that metal frame to go up and down, because you need this to be mounted just perfectly in the center of your LCD. So this could go, you know, up or down depending on your camera. And one really convenient thing about this is, of course, you can just take that off and look through the LCD like normal, and really easy to put back on. Right there. So all in all, it works very well for me. You can decide whether or not if it looks very professional to you. I think it looks good enough. And the most important thing is it gets the job done. If you wanted to make it look more professional, you can maybe seek out if they have metal hardware for all this, or sorry, black hardware for all this stuff. Or you can paint this hardware black. Now you might have noticed on my strap I also have some that sticker residue. I'm going to take some Goo Gone and get that off so it looks a little better. But I just didn't feel like doing it for the video. So anyways, this is the final product, and it works very well. Allows me to use my zoom recorder, use my, gotta get everything oriented, use my viewfinder, and most importantly I still can access my battery. I'm not gonna open it right now, I'm filming, but you still have your battery grip available. So this is a very cheap option. Save yourself a few $100s. One thing I did forget to mention in that overview is that to get this rig to fit onto your camera in the first place, you're going to have to slip off the diopter eyepiece, which it does come on and off very easily, and you can just take it off, put it in your camera bag. When you decide to take the rig off your camera, you can just slip this back on. So you do need to keep that in mind. Another motive for me coming up with this rig that you probably noticed on this is that I also use my zoom recorder mounted on top of my camera. So this was something that was just perfectly ideal. I have my battery grip at the bottom, my viewfinder here, and I can still mount my zoom. So this is the solution I found that really lets me take advantage of all those pieces of equipment at the same time. Now, another thing to add, I don't know how many people are in the same situation I am. I don't know if this is a very common issue people have, or if it's just me and everyone else has worked out their own rigs so that this isn't an issue. But I figure if anyone out there is running into the same problem, hopefully this can help you a little bit. So when you are looking at the grand total spent on this job, there's two ways of looking at it. You can either consider the cost of the viewfinder included, which would be about $12 to $15 on top of the hardware, which is about $450, including in that cost this U-bolt, which isn't even used except for the strap. But if you're looking at just the hardware, $450. So very inexpensive. I think it gets the job done incredibly well, and hopefully it works for you. All right, thanks.